Hi everyone, Paisley here, and today I'll be guiding us through a yoga flow for beginners to all levels. And if you have a blanket, I definitely recommend grabbing that for today's practice, as well as one block, or if you happen to have 2 blocks, then that's great. Or if you don't have any blocks, then no worries, you can do this practice without blocks. But I definitely encourage you to grab that blanket if you can, or a pillow. And you can just fold it up and put it right underneath your hips so that you're sitting on the edge, and this will elongate the spine, tilting the pelvis forward. And let's get right into it. So bringing the eyes down or to a gentle close. And let's just bring the conscious awareness to the breath. And if you'd like, you can bring one hand onto the heart and one onto the belly, just feeling the physical rise and fall of the torso as we breathe deeply here. So inhale, belly expands, chest expands, full torso expands, full yogic breath. And on the exhale, chest deflates, navel draws to spine. Continue these nice deep breaths at your own pace for a moment. And gently blinking the eyes open, the hands can rest on the knees, and let's take some shoulder rolls as we inhale, shoulders up toward the ears, and exhale, rolling them down and back. Sinking breath and movement, finding your full range of motion in your shoulders. And let's go ahead and reverse the circles, just moving the shoulders the other direction. Nice, slow, juicy movements. And now we'll just take each ear to each shoulder. Try to take this motion nice and gentle. It doesn't have to be a big motion. This ear to shoulder stretch can actually be rather intense if we have a tight neck and we're just getting warmed up. So keep breathing into it as you move gently. Now we'll exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, one ear to one shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, other ear to other shoulder. Just bringing this motion into more of a side-to-side swivel now, painting our half circles on the sternum with the chin. And breathing as we continue to open up through the neck here. Now let's interlace the fingers, palms facing out with the pinkies and the thumbs pulling back toward the face. On an inhale, arms come up and overhead, and exhale, arms float down. Continuing to flow with this. Inhale, arms come up and overhead, and exhale, arms floating down, really pushing out through those palms. Now, if and only if it's comfortable on the neck, we can follow the hands with the gaze. So as we inhale to bring the arms up, we'll also look up at the hands, and exhale, float the arms down, following the hands all the way down. Finding your unique range of motion here. Everyone's body is a little bit different, so your range of motion might look different than mine. Now again, if and only if it feels good, we can even bring this motion into the spine with a little cat-cow spine. On the exhale, rounding forward, pushing out through the palms as we round the back, draw the navel in, and on the inhale, looking up, arching the spine to follow the gaze up. Next time we exhale, rounding forward, we can just stay there. It's optional to have the hands behind the head here. Again, this can be quite intense, so be gentle with yourself. But we're going to take some torso circles. And if your hands behind your head is just too much, you can do this with the hands just resting on the knees. If your hands are behind your head, then as we inhale, looking up to open the elbows, open the shoulders, and press the back of the head into the hands. And then we'll release that and just take the hands to the base of the skull, the top of the neck, and we'll give ourselves a little massage here. You can use your fingertips to massage anywhere on the neck or even down into the shoulders. That feels good. Just give yourself some love. Continuing our nice deep breathing here. And then let's separate the arms and inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, flip the palms and rain them down. Inhaling up, exhale, flip down and away. Like you're moving through water, create your own resistance. You can imagine that I've got a hold of your wrists and I'm gently pulling them away from you. And flow with the breath here. A little bit of time for some intuitive movement. So no wrong answers here, just whatever your body is asking for. And then let's shake out the arms and take 3 big inhales and 3 big exhales. On the exhale, stick out the tongue, let it go. Inhale. Let it go on the exhale. 2 more like this. Big inhale through the nostrils. And exhale through the mouth. Stick out the tongue. 1 more big inhale. Hold the breath in at the top and then exhale. Let it go like a dragon. All right, gently moving the blanket out from underneath. Let's go ahead and make our way onto the belly for some back bending. Once you get there, just rest down for a moment. And the first back bend we'll come into is the Sphinx. So in Sphinx, my elbows are directly underneath my shoulders. My arms are pulling my chest through my shoulders forward. And then let's look over the right shoulder toward the right heel. Breathing into the left side of the body. And inhale, come back to center. And then we'll look over the left shoulder to the left heel. Breathing into the side body stretch on the right. And inhale back to center. And exhale, lower it down. Rest. Next back bend is going to be Cobra. In Cobra, my hands are right underneath my shoulders. Elbows are hugging into the rib cage strongly. And I'm pressing down into my hips and the tops of my feet as I lift my chest and shoulders up off the mat. Keep a nice long spine here. Neck is an extension of the spine. 1 more inhale, and then exhale, lower it down. Rest. Third time we come up is going to be Yogi's Choice, so you're welcome to choose either Sphinx or Cobra. So here I'm demonstrating Sphinx, and then I move into Cobra. Wherever you are, pressing down into the tops of the feet so much that your kneecaps pop up off the mat. If you want a little bit more in Cobra, you can lift your hands just an inch or so and float them up off the mat. One more inhale, and exhale, lower it down. Now let's take a quad stretch, bending the left knee. Reach around to grab the left foot if you can, and pull the left heel down to your left glute. You can imagine that I'm behind you, gently pulling your left knee back toward your right foot. So engaging the left quad as we stretch it. And then on an exhale, let it go. We'll switch sides, bending the right knee, grabbing for the right foot with the right hand. So gently engaging the right quadricep muscle by kicking that right foot into the right hand. And on an exhale, we'll let it go. Start to push yourself up through tabletop, and then taking the knees wide, big toes to touch, we'll sit the hips back for a child's pose, stretching out the spine here. And options in child's, if it's not comfortable to have the knees wide, you can also have the knees together. That's going to be more of a low back release. The arms can be forward or alongside the body, whichever feels more comfortable for you today. And then we're going to be coming forward into a plank position, forearm plank. So again, shoulders over the elbows. And in my forearm plank, my hips are not too far up or down, but about right in alignment with my shoulders. So one long line of energy from the shoulders out through the heels. And we'll lower the hips down in an exhale so that we are in Sphinx. And then coming again back through tabletop, let's just take some cat-cows here. So inhaling to look up and exhaling to round forward, continuing this motion with your own breath at your own pace. If you'd like to take a little wrist stretch here, you can turn the fingers back toward your knees and continue your cat-cows. This is optional. In fact, everything I say is always optional, especially since I'm not there to assist you in person. Please listen to your own body. Your body is its own best teacher. So curling the toes under, we're going to lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Go ahead and enjoy your dog. You can shake the head yes and no, release the crown of the head toward the mat. You can bend one knee deeply and the other. You can sway the hips side to side, just opening up here. Walk out your dog, breathe and stretch it out. Just another breath or two, getting your wiggles out in dog. And then bend the knees, look at the hands, and we'll step the feet forward to our forward fold. Same drill here in forward fold. You can bend one knee deeply on the other. I encourage a nice deep bend in the knees to release the low back here. You can sway side to side with the torso, shake the head yes and no. You can even clasp the hands onto the elbows and use the weight of the arms to pull the torso down. And then let's bend the knees again and bring the spine flat for a halfway lift. Bend the knees again, and we'll sink the hips back into chair pose. So in chair, my weight is sinking back toward my heels, engaging the belly as I pretend to sit back into my invisible chair. Arms are alongside the ears, and on an exhale, we'll stand all the way up. And let's just bring the weight into the left leg and start to circle out the right ankle. And then weight into the right leg, we'll circle out the left ankle. And then grounding down through the feet here. We'll just do a little bit of balancing. So inhale, come up onto the toes. The hands can rest on the hips for now. And exhale, lower down. This time we'll inhale, coming up onto the balls of the feet. Arms can come up alongside the ears if you're feeling stable. And exhale, lower down. One more time, inhaling up onto the balls of the feet. And then this time we'll travel. So walking around on tippy toes. You can hike up one hip at a time here and just explore the space around your mat. Keep challenging yourself to stay up on the balls of the feet. So you can engage the belly to help you do this. And then hands back to the hips. We'll exhale, lower the heels back down to the floor. Good. And then we'll bend the knees deeply, sweep the arms up alongside the ears for chair once again. And exhale, forward fold, let it go. Again, wiggle and bend one knee at a time. You can sway if you'd like. And then we'll step the feet back, planting the hands once again for down dog. Stretch it back in your dog. Keep breathing. Always staying in touch with the breath throughout our practice. And then we'll lower the knees on an exhale. And if you have a blanket and are on a hardwood floor specifically, you might want to use that blanket as padding underneath the knees and the hips here. we're going to lower back onto the belly. And we're preparing for our peak pose, so you'll want your block handy if you've got one. And then from Sphinx, we'll either stay in Sphinx, or if you'd like more of a core challenge, curl the toes under and lift the hips for our second forearm plank. Again, one long line of energy here in forearm plank. Keep engaging the belly, keep breathing as you can. And on an exhale, lowering the hips. We'll rest it just for a brief moment. And we're taking the bow pose for our peak pose today. That's Dhanurasana. We'll do half bow Ardha Dhanurasana on each side first. So go ahead and stretch the right arm out in front of you and then bend the left knee again. Reach around, grab that left foot with your left hand. And on an inhale, perhaps lifting just the left side of the body. Or for more challenge, lifting the right arm, right leg up in space as well, and reaching the right fingertips, right toes away from each other. On an exhale, lower down, and we'll do the other side. So left arm is long out in front, the right knee is going to bend, reaching around to grab the right foot with the right hand, and inhale to lift the right side of the body. Or for more, lifting the left leg, left arm up off the floor as well. And breathing as we reach the left fingertips, left toes away from each other. Engaging the entire back side of the body here. And on an exhale, lower it down, rest. Good job. So you can choose to take the half bow again on each side, or for full bow, bend the knees, reach around, grabbing the feet with both hands, and then kicking the feet into the hands so much that the chest and shoulders and the knees float up off the mat. On an exhale, lower it down, release. And then if you have your block, I invite you to use either the skinniest setting or the second setting, and just place that right between the knees. Squeezing the block between the knees will help us keep our knees in safe alignment here. And then coming up into a second bow pose with the block. So inhaling to lift up, and there's a tendency here to splay the knees out. So the block is helping us keep those knees in and keeping them in a nice safe alignment. One more inhale here. And on an exhale, lower it down, release. Give yourself a pat on the back for a job well done. That was our peak pose, the most difficult pose in this sequence. We'll push back up through a tabletop position. And just take a moment to set the props off to the side. And then curling the toes under, lifting the hips up and back. Again for down dog. We'll be here for several breaths, so time for intuitive movement again. Feel free to bend the knees. You can take little calf stretches. You can shake out the hips. Whatever type of wiggles and movement feels good for you here in dog pose. And then lifting the hips up, you can imagine there's a string attached to your hips that's pulling you up toward the sky. Release the crown of the head down. And breathe. So let's inhale and lift the right leg high, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the right knee into the chest, and we'll step it through for a lunge and then walk the right foot out to the right side of the mat, both hands on the inside of the right foot for lizard. As we settle into our lizard here, the left toes can be up or down, left knee up or down, yogi's choice. And if the left toes are curled under, then you might like to find a little forward and backward rocking motion on the left foot. You can bring the block underneath the forearms for some support. You can also try having the block underneath the forehead if you're ready to go that deep. The block is there to help you create more space in the pose. But again, you don't need to use it. You can always be up on the hands. So let's curl the left toes under and step back for our down dog again. This time we'll lift the left leg and exhale, bend the left knee into the chest, and we'll make our way into our lizard on the left side. So hands on the inside of the left foot, left knee, left toes pointing the same direction. And you might find a little sway on the right toes. Right knee can be up or down, yogi's choice. And just breathing into any discomfort that arises as we continue to open through the hips here. And once again, you can bring that block under the forearms if you'd like, or the forehead. You could even have the hands on the block if you need that much space. Just play around, see what feels good. And then let's remove the block, plant the hands down, and step it back for downward facing dog. And this time we'll take the feet about as wide as the mat for a wide-legged downward dog, and we're going to take a twist. Bringing the left hand into the center of the mat, right hand can reach back for the left foot or possibly the left ankle. And if we're able to grab that left ankle, using the right arm as leverage to turn the torso more and look under the left armpit. Bringing the right hand into the center of the mat, we'll do the other side. So left hand reaching back for the left foot or possibly grabbing onto the left ankle, using that arm as leverage to look under the right shoulder and twist. And then we'll set the hands back down, keeping the feet wide for a moment, and then step the feet back together for a regular dog. Again, we'll lift the right leg high, three-legged, and exhale, sweep that right shin through. We're setting up for pigeon. So in pigeon, my right knee is bent as much as I need it to be, and it's parallel to the front of my mat. You can use a block under the right hip here because there's a tendency to roll onto the right hip. We want both hips to have even weight on them. Keep that left leg nice and long and strong, pressing the top of the left foot down into the mat. And you can use a block under the forearms again here, or under the forehead, as you surrender down and stretch into this deep hip opener. Do your best to breathe into the chaos and adjust as needed. This is another pose that can be difficult, especially for beginners, to hold, because our hips tend to be super tight, and they also hold a lot of emotional energy. Let's take an inhale and bring the spine long, set the block off to the side, curl the left toes under, and lift the right leg, just shake it out, and then set it down. Then we'll inhale left leg up, three-legged, exhale, bend it in for pigeon on the other side. My left knee is bent as much as I need it to be, and left shin about parallel with the front of the mat. I can use the block under my left hip to keep from the tendency to roll onto the left side here. Right leg is long and strong, pressing the right top of the foot into the mat. And as I breathe here, I lower myself slowly deeper into it. can stay up on the hands or on the forearms or using the block under the forearms or forehead. Deep belly breaths here, wherever you are. And inhale, lifting the head, we'll plant the hands. Finding the length in the spine, setting the block off to the side, curling the right toes under and lifting. Shake out the left leg and step it back for dog, lifting the hips once again. Notice how your downward dog feels. It might feel different now than it did at the beginning of practice. Let's just take a few rounds of cat-cow here to reset the spine. Inhaling to look up and exhaling, arching navel to spine as you look down. Moving with the breath here. I like to use my arms as leverage to exaggerate the movement of the spine. Now let's take the hips in big circles here. Reverse the direction, circling the other way. And then sit your bottom down. We're gonna roll over, and if you have your blanket, you might want to use it as padding again underneath your back. We're going to lower ourselves all the way down onto the back here. Knees can be bent, soles of the feet flat on the floor, and arms can reach alongside the body, perhaps grazing the backs of the heels with the fingertips. And we'll take bridge rolls. So inhale, arms come up and overhead, hips lift, and exhale, arms come up as the hips come down. Continuing to flow with the breath. As we inhale, arms up and overhead, the hips will reach their maximum height as the arms reach up behind us. And then on the exhale, the arms will roll back up and overhead and then down alongside the hips as the hips roll down. And as you continue to sync the movement of the arms and the hips with the breath, you might find that you're able to give yourself a massage along the full length of your spine. So we'll exhale and release that, and then walk your feet out to the outer edges of the mat. Allow the knees to just knock together here, and hands can be alongside the body or one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. Enjoying this release for the psoas muscle here. The psoas muscle is a very small muscle that does a very big job in the body. It connects the legs with the torso, and this is one position where the psoas can fully relax and release. So if you've got your block handy, again, grab it, and we can lift the hips and just set that block right underneath the sacrum for a supported bridge. If you don't have a block, then just stay with the regular bridge setup. And then we can just lift the legs straight up from here. So legs up the wall. And if you'd like, you can pretend that you're ice skating on the ceiling, pointing the toes and flexing them back towards your face. You can take ankle circles, wiggling the toes with your ankle rolls. And on an exhale, floating the soles of the feet back down toward the mat, we'll lift the hips and remove the block if we were using one. And then go ahead and hug the knees into the chest, using the arms to pull the knees in and rock side to side a little bit. Massaging the back this way. Then we'll clasp the hands onto the tops of the knees and use the arms to draw big circles with the knees, opening through the groin, and reverse the direction of your circles. And then we'll interlace the arms underneath the knees, grabbing for the pinky toe edges of the feet for happy baby, pulling the knees down toward the outsides of the shoulders. And breathing here, you might find yourself swaying a little bit side to side. Just a happy little baby. Not a care in the world. Go ahead and release that, and we'll take some twists to close out our practice. So shifting the hips a few inches right of center, we'll bring both knees to the left, or for more of a twist, cross the right knee over the left, and then both knees to the left. Arms can be out to the sides in a T or to goalposts. If it's too much on your knees to have them crossed over, again, they can just be uncrossed with both knees to the left, or you can also use a block underneath the knees or between the knees. And for more of a twist, you can look over your right shoulder if that's okay on your neck. Bringing the nose back up toward the ceiling. We'll engage the belly to bring the knees back up and unravel them. Shift the hips back to center. And then we'll shift the hips a few inches left of center, both knees to the right, or for more twist, left leg over right, and then both knees to the right. Arms can stay out at the T or at goalposts. Again, you can use that block underneath the knees or between the knees for support. And if it feels okay on your neck and you want more twist, you can look over the left shoulder. Deep belly breaths here. Again, shifting the head back toward the center, engaging the belly to lift the knees and unravel. Shift the hips back to neutral, and we'll set ourselves up for our Savasana, final resting pose. In Savasana, feet can splay out, arms alongside the body, palms up to receive or palms down to ground. Eyes can be closed here or at a gentle gaze. And on your next exhale, just feel your body melting down into the floor, feeling yourself being supported, allowing the breath to be natural, doing your best to keep your mental focus on the present moment. So as thoughts of the past or plans for the future begin to arise, just simply bring the mind back to here and now. And then we'll reach the arms up and overhead, full body stretch like you're first waking up in the morning. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. And then we'll bend the knees, rolling onto one side, using one arm as a pillow for embryo pose, before rolling back up to a comfortable seated position, and we'll close our practice together. So nice long spine, eyes can stay closed. Coming back to the breath for a few moments. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. May our practice in our lives somehow contribute to that happiness and that freedom. Om, peace, peace, peace. Peace to all the creatures in all the worlds. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.